enclave, a fairly large defence of a town. The Gallic Confederation came in with a transport fleet of 20 ships of some Oathsworn, chosen spears, chosen swordsmen, levy freemen. They had a couple of useless ships here, these siege equipment. They've got some Gallic hunters and Celtic yews and some skirmishers. You can see I've got a lot of missile fire here. I've got some mercenary hoplites, which are quite good to have there. A bit of cavalry there, mercenary cavalry. I think it's Tarentine cavalry, and some Italian spearmen and some other mercenary spearmen there, or Italian spearmen. Some Thracian peltasts. I've also got a garrison army. You can see, fairly strong, with legionaries in it, and a small garrison fleet.
By your command.
Just waiting for it to get going. It's kind of a preamble to the battle. There's a little bit of naval manoeuvring that takes place. You can see where his ships are coming from here, from this direction. I've got garrison of 2 here, and I decided to try to use them to sink a couple of ships. In particular, actually, I decided in a more daring maneuver to try to sink his general's ship. That would have been a really good trade-off. So indeed, sinking any of the ships really with these ones would have been quite good, right? So one of the things I could do is I could just land them and use them on the land, but I thought, well, I could try to ram, some ships very quickly. They're transport ships, so I can outmaneuver them. The general is all the way back there. What I was attempting to do is bring my ships around the back to ram and sink the general. It wasn't that easy, even though you can see I'm going quite a bit faster than they are. They're certainly responding to me. I had plenty of time. These ships aren't particularly strong in any way, just have levies. You can see that they are attempting to maneuver to outmaneuver me, but they're really not fast enough. There was a little opportunity to do a bit of skirmishing, essentially, and hit some of those levy freemen. They can't catch me. Killed a few of the levy freemen that way. I probably could skirmish quite a bit here, but I don't think that the skirmishing would be that effective. I really want to get a ram in. Unfortunately, what happened was that their Gallic warriors, and I think some of their other missile troops that had considerable range, did do quite a bit of damage, and so what you see is I get slaughtered, and I decided to try to just ram that one because I could see I was dying. And while I did get the ram, the ship gave up. It's at now 96% damage. So I almost sunk this Gallic hunters, and that would have been sweet. But then they go and they use, now I'm really in trouble. The general's just there in front of me, but I just, my guys just gave up before I missed the general. That's the general there. I went straight past it, and then the ship was sunk. So it would have been sweet if I got a ram on that, or it would have been sweet if that had sunk. It was kind of a daring maneuver to try to do that. I could have perhaps put both of them and rammed into one group of chosen spearmen in this case, or levy freemen. Yeah, I'd say that would have been a nice trade-off even if I lost both of them. Unfortunately, I didn't kill too much. I killed a few freemen, maybe some Gallic hunters. I killed 10 Gallic hunters, so did a little bit of damage, but it wasn't as sweet as what it could have been. They're all sort of stuffed up now, and they do take a while to land, but while they're landing, let's just have a look at the setup. It's one of my classic setups for defending this city. If you've seen my other videos, I've kind of become cognizant to the fact that what the enemy will do in this city, here's the capture point in the middle, is it will generally bring all of its troops down the main road and bring them in this way, like that. It will bring everybody up and bring them in here. It may, of course, and it does, bring some in to attack on these flanks. It rarely attacks in here. So what I've done is I've set up my overlapping field of fire to be in here. So I've got legionaries and some levies that are facing this way. I've got a row of Thoros spears and legionaries that are facing that way, and Velades, they're all facing that way. Another row of legionaries, levies, Velades facing this way. So this area is the kill zone, and that is generally where they're going to run into. I've got my general over here. I've got this rear guard in case they do come in here. The Vigiles are pretty good as spear groups are, at holding the line. I can, if they do come in mass here, I can reconfigure. So the tactic generally is reconfiguring. You bring one group around for a rear attack, or indeed if they come up here to where I've got my mercenary hoplites in hoplite wall, which is quite strong, then I can always bring these guys around to get a rear attack that way. Over here I've got a rear guard mercenary Italian spearmen, and some levies and Thracian peltasts facing that way. So I've got, these are the sort of the rear guards. I put my so what were they indeed? The mercenary citizen cav, not Tarantine cavalry. So I put the citizen cav out here. I don't know that they're hidden, but they're far enough away that they're probably not going to draw any attention. I can bring them in later to get rear charges or whatnot. So that's sort of the way that I've set up. There are other ways you could do. You could put a line here and sort of a line here and a line there, and then sort of have fire going in this way and going down that way, and potentially have a line over here and another line here. This kind of thing. I didn't have enough troops for that, and I've found that because the enemy does like to just run straight down into the middle, then that's kind of the way to defend the city. Stupidly enough as well, what happens is these Celtic onagers and these Celtic ballista do land, and of course they can't do anything, so they sort of run up and just get killed. It's kind of practice for the levies. He's obviously have to divide up his fleet. It's one of the problems of attacking with a large fleet, is that you can't land it everywhere, and sometimes indeed there's not enough spots to put all of your fleet. So he lands some of the fleet on this side, and then this part of the fleet lands sort of scattered around the other side. So they do take a little while, but you know they're bringing these Celtic onagers up. I guess it's sort of scouting, if anything, but you know, we'll see what happens to them. He's also bringing the other useless unit for him, I guess useless, is the mercenary Celtic light horse, because they don't have any horse. I guess the horse are in the boat somewhere still. They've got Celtic ballista who have landed. So those guys kind of land up front, and they don't really contribute to the battle very much. Let's see what happens to these small group of souls as they run around the corner.
Cheer, you miserable lots! Cheer! Where's the honorary shooting?
Just having a look back there is my group over there. Here come the onager crew. That last volley actually kind of finishes them off. The other thing that's happening is these light horse are coming in with, but a lot of them get killed by missile fire. These Hoplites wall are exceptionally strong. In fact, I only lose one Hoplite here. I'm going to give up. So it's just a bit of practice fire for these guys. This I don't like. I don't like that units continue to fire on units that are fleeing, that are no longer part of the battle. It's very much a waste of missile fire, and I'd like that to be changed. And the game agrees with me, as you can see. These other guys run past, so that was the other onager crew, the Celtic ballista, sorry, and they've kind of given up. So those are the useless ones, kind of done. I didn't have to issue any orders. They just get killed. So another deficiency, I guess, here in the AI is that it doesn't really group up its troops. It sort of just sends them in when they're available. Sometimes it groups them up, but in this kind of engagement it's not doing that. So I think that could be a bit better done. It could sort of consolidate forces. So these guys are rushing up into the kill zone. They really don't have any backup.
Yes, Commander! By your command!
What they try to do, it seems, is the AI tries to compute some sort of outflanking maneuver where it's trying to get down the side of my legionaries over there. I had activated the Velades on the angle, so coming back there, these Velades are set to not fire at will, and I've only activated these ones to fire. They're firing in at the angle and really doing, I think, a lot of damage to these guys. So these guys aren't firing. You can see this unit is basically just going to die. I've only lost one legionary so far. But over here, now they are getting more units coming in. So I was trying to actually, with all of my missile groups, I was trying to micromanage what they fire at, because the fire should always be at an angle. These guys should be firing only at people that are attacking these guys. These guys should be firing only at people that are at an angle or attacking these guys over here. You can see the angle fire. I don't know why these guys are running. I stopped them. Must be a misclick or something. Trying to get them back into formation is difficult. The other thing that I found was micromanaging the fire was basically impossible, and eventually I just said fire at anyone, fire at will, because it was just too hard to micromanage all of that fire. It's still quite effective because these guys don't know who to attack, so they're just sort of running around like turkeys. Eventually they do, you know, choose somebody, of course, and they ran back over there actually. You know, so now they're going to get fire from that side. So you can see, you know, this is obviously, you know, a human player wouldn't just rush in like this. They'd be much more circumspect, I would say, and try to come in an orderly manner or attack the weaker points first. So these guys are kind of doomed. What's happening now as well is that the Celtic slingers, and look at the range of these Celtic slingers, they're shooting from there all the way into the back of my Legionaries. My Legionaries are under missile fire from these Celtic slingers all the way over there. I don't even know how they can see them over there, but they're shooting at them, but they are as well getting shot at by my levies, so they're actually taking a lot of casualties. And the Legionaries don't seem to care. They're still eager, even though they're under missile fire. It doesn't count as an attack in the rear, so that's kind of okay. The Celtic slingers are giving up. So that was kind of okay. The other thing that's happening though is they've got these Gallic hunters here. You can see these Gallic hunters are shooting over and into the mercenary Italian spearmen. These spearmen are taking a lot of damage from those Gallic hunters. Look at this go down, 142 now. Another volley comes in, 131, 129. Another volley comes in. I wasn't actually cognizant of this happening, 117. They're now steady, you know, only they've gone down. Now they're at 85, right? So I've lost half my spearmen to these Gallic warriors. And I really wish I'd sunk those Gallic warriors when I had the chance. I almost did. These were some of their Celtic warriors, I think, was it? Or oh no, geez, that was the Oathsworn. They took a volley and lost a lot. Now they've kind of run off. I don't know where they're running to. Nevertheless, the mercenary Italian spearmen are still holding up. Coming back to here, you can see that this group of enemy is kind of essentially being destroyed. Another thing that happened was, you know, my Thracian pelters sort of ran out from where they were into the battle, I guess because I had told them to fire at a group. And so when that group retreated, they kind of chased after them, which was really bad. They shouldn't do that. They should just sit there. If they just do what I told, they would win a lot better. So I lost my spearmen down here, unfortunately, and I had to move in these guys into melee mode. You know, these Gallic warriors just received a whole volley of missiles from the Gallic hunters, but they didn't seem to lose any guys. I'm not sure that that's an accurate portrayal. Now these guys are getting hit by those Gallic warriors. I've got my... I sort of forgot about my citizen cab, but I do bring them in shortly. So they've kind of got their last unit of chosen swordsmen and that coming into the battle. Some Levy Freemen. These guys are routing. You can see these guys are blinking. I've still got a good wall here of throw spears. My Legionaries are still standing up well. I haven't even used my general, and I've still got these reserve troops that I could bring around. My hoplite wall is still 159 out of 160. Kind of a little bit worried about the Gallic Warriors. I think they might have run out of fire actually. They've also got some other units landing here. They've got their Celtic skirmishers and there's some chosen swordsmen. So if anything, this was my weakest spot, so I kind of moved the legionaries to form the line over here to keep this area, and at the same time I moved my other legionaries that were here, I moved them up, and I'm sort of just now like making this area smaller because I've got that wall off with my hoplites, so you know I can afford to shrink this gap and finish off these units
As you command.
and then concentrate all of my effort over here. And these guys still aren't really attacking, they just, I put them there, I thought they might use some of their missile fire, but maybe they're out of missile fire, and then eventually bring them into the battle. So this is kind of now, you know, after those units of chosen swordsmen are finished off, this is sort of the last stand of the battle over here. I don't know what these Gallic hunters are doing. I think there's an error in the routing for these Gallic hunters. They don't seem to be moving in the right place. Well, now they're moving around, moving away or doing something. I'm bringing my citizen cav in now. I think it's because I saw their Celtic U's coming in, and it's about time that I did bring them in anyway, because this is the last part of the fight. There's a good chance for a rear attack. And I think, yeah, they met up with the Celtic U's. Celtic U's are actually quite good at defending against cav though. They don't seem to die very quickly. And I've got a full cav unit. My cav do get attacked by some missile fire shortly, but I would have thought that they'd kill those Celtic U's a bit quicker than that. So over there is the missile fire, the Celtic skirmishers that do cause a problem for my cavalry. At least one volley. What are they doing now? So there's kind of fighting there. This is Celtic skirmishers, chosen swordsmen, Gallic hunters seem to have run out of missile fire, so they're in the fight. I brought up my other legionaries. The other thing that I did was I started bringing my hoplites around and some other units now to lock this off and to get some fire into the back. I didn't want my mercenary citizen calves to get caught up there, so I sort of brought them away. Another thing that I don't like that sort of happens, we'll see in a minute, I'll go over there. So here are the hoplites coming around.
Advance at speed!
Kind of effective rear attack. So what happens over here with these horses? I brought them out. Okay, they're sitting there. The guys that they're just fighting, the Celtic U's, come over
Advance at speed!
and, you know, start firing at them, right?
Yes, Commander! Advance at speed!
And what do? They just sort of stand there and get hit. You know, I did see this kind of quickly. I mean, they were about to run away, and I managed to avert that. I don't think it should do that. I think something more intelligent should happen. So now I'm getting a rear attack on this group, and it's only a matter of time. Actually, this spear group I had set to run after those guys, which is kind of funny because they run as fast as them, so what they end up doing is chasing them off the map. They'll just keep chasing and chasing and chasing. But I happen to have this group of velites that I think had run away, and you know, I could cut them off. And I also, after finishing off those Celtic U's with the citizen cav, you know, this group are dead, so what we have left is just what we have in here. I put these guys into hoplite wall. I'm not sure that that's good for close quarters like this. I think it is. My second unit of legionaries. One of the things that I moved the legionaries up to a line. I hadn't actually advanced them, so they're not really attacking. They're just sort of sitting there in a line, and I really actually have to give the order to attack this group before they actually move in and attack it. Which you'll see in a minute. I mean, they're just sort of standing here. There's a few units here that are kind of being attacked in the rear because they're close to the line. But other than that, this group isn't really attacking. Here comes the order, I think. Or maybe that was me bringing the general around. Here's the order now for the legionaries to move in. It's kind of micromanagement of the armies, maybe prudent management, but sometimes it's a little bit too prudent. So the hoplites are still standing up nicely. Some of them are getting around the side. I'm not sure that counts as an attack. An attack in the rear or not. They're losing the current combat, but let's say attack in the rear. I've got these ladies over here that should have been attacking. I brought my general down to give some bonuses, some more missile groups, and now the Oswan are run, and that's the end of the battle. I had even brought these other legionaries around to, why not? So, I had a few more units, 300 more men or so. You can see how it turned out. My Thracian Pelters killed 221 over here. That was quite effective. Citizen Cav, 141 kills. The Hoplites, 170 kills. So they were quite effective. On their side, their Gallic Hunters killed a lot, 193 there, and the Oswan that were in the main part of the fight killed 219. These mercenary Gallic warriors seem to get some kills there too.